Welcome back to another lesson on fractions. This time we are going to talk about a fourth. Remember on the halves we divided our cracker in half, which had to have equal parts when you're talking about fractions. If I take each of these two crackers and divide them in half again, I will have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. And if I hold this up, this is 1/4 of the cracker. This would be 2/4 of the cracker, which is actually a half. 3/4 of the cracker, and finally 4/4 of the cracker, or the whole cracker again. So I could have one, and 3 more of you could each have a piece too, and we each have 1/4 of our cracker. If you look up here on my board, I have 1/4 of a piece of pizza. If I were to draw these imaginary lines, that would be another 1/4. There would be another 1/4. And there would be another 1/4. I'm sorry, mine aren't equal because I couldn't draw it perfectly. But 1 is the numerator again. That's one piece out of 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. 1 out of the 4. 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes kids get confused and say 1 out of 1, 2, 3. But remember, you have to count the one that you're including in that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4. 1/4. Now I like to think about quarters too. Remember when you heard quarter? That's the Q-U-A on words often mean 4. How many of you get quarts of milk? Well, if you get quarts of milk, that's 1/4 of a gallon. And quartets, if you love music, those are 4 people who sing together or play an instrument together, a quartet. So quarter also is 1/4 because look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters in a dollar. So if you have 1, you have 1/4 of the dollar. Let's go ahead and continue on. We talked about half, and you know a half is greater than a 1/4. But Mrs. Kaper, look, a 2 is smaller than a 4. You're right. Usually when we're talking numbers, we look for the bigger numbers to be more. However, you are looking at how many parts there are. And so if you see 1/4 and 1/2, you will know that the half is definitely greater than a 1/4. This one you only have to divide between 2 of you. This one is between 4 of you. So a half is greater than 1/4. Oops, look it, I didn't change this to 1 out of 4 parts. Now when you add them together, if I have a 1/4 and I add another 1/4 of my pizza, did you notice when you have 1/4 and another 1/4, that's 2/4? Look, same size as a half. So 1/4 plus 1/4 equals 2/4. Do you see how the 4 stayed the same and when I added this? But I noticed when I put it up here, look, it's a half. So it is equal to a half. Wow, isn't that interesting? Now let's see about the bottom. When I say 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4, There's 1, 2, 3 fourths. Wow, that's more than a half, isn't it? And 1/4. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 fourths. If my numerator is the same as my denominator, it means the whole thing is there. That's 1 whole. So it is equal to 1 whole pizza, if that's what we're talking about. Okay, let's look with the measurement again. If you look at the liquid measurement of a fourth, boy, there's not very much water in here. I'm going to have to add another fourth and another fourth and another fourth to get to my whole cup. So a fourth isn't very much liquid like this water. When we're talking about measuring again with these kinds of measuring cups for things like beans, if I have here my 1/4 cup, you can see it's smaller than my 1/2 cup, isn't it? So I'm going to take 1/4 of my cup of beans, put it in my half, and 1 more fourth and put it in my half. Look, I have a 1/2 cup of beans now because I used 2 of the fourths. Let's see if I want to do that for a whole cup. So here's my fourth again. 1/4 plus 1/4, that's 2 fourths now, plus 3 fourths, 1 more fourth, 4 fourths, a whole cup of beans. So I hope you understand that fourth is smaller than a half. It takes 4 fourths to make a whole, and each part has to be equal. You can't make it a different size. Hopefully this has been helpful, and you will see some of the reasons you need to know what a fourth is.